Hey everybody, welcome to your unpaid therapist.
Hello, welcome to another episode of your unpaid therapist.
I'm not getting paid. I didn't even get a donut.
Oh, that's sexy though. I like it.
I'm Valery Milagros Ortiz.
I don't know.
I am your host, Alikona. She's away. Bradford.
This is your unpaid therapist. Shoo-wah, cha-cha.
Shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba.
This is so much pressure. I don't have anything planned, but if you guys insist, I can sing you a song. This is your unpaid therapist.
Shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba.
Shoo-wah, cha-cha.
Shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba.
Ooh, okay, with the bass.
Days. Matt Marr, everyone.
Right?
You're
He
welcome.
Said, bah.
His have that little vibration.
Well-
I know.
Yesterday was Cinco de Mayo and she had some tequila, so the voice is a little low, little low,
Keep it going.
little low.
Welcome to the show, everybody. That was Alikona, that was Matt, and I am Valerie. And we're back.
Yeah, let's. Oh, wait, that was, yeah. Huh? English.
Yeah, work.
Yeah, did you guys know that my first
I
English
just felt like you're an extra in a James Gunn movie. I didn't know what happened to you.
Today's topic, you guys, is Debbie Downers, how to deal with them, or realize that you are one.
Oh,
Whoa.
and
I mean, one of my favorite SNL sketches.
Oh, really?
Oh, with Rachel Dratch. You ever seen
she's
that?
so good.
It's like it's like everyone's happy and having this like great moment. Like, oh, isn't this a great party? And then Debbie Downer would say something like, "Yeah, this would be really great if my dead mother could be here." And then it goes.
so good. It's
Here, they're telling you scoot in towards me.
Oh,
Sugar.
okay,
Scoot in a
okay.
little towards
Scooty
me.
tooty,
Get
fresh
get
and
all the
fruity.
love.
Got it. Okay. All right. Let's never have I ever, you guys.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Boom, boom, boom. Let me pick one. I'm going to go blue.
Okay.
Never have I ever stuffed my bra.
Oh.
No, but I will tell you a story on how when I was living in Florida. So it's funny because I thought about this when you, in another episode, Alikona.
How am I looking at you right now? I feel myself going like this.
I know, you're like, what is she gonna say? Alikona was talking about some friend who put a sock in her butt when she sweat too much, and you're gonna
You
have
had to go back for that one.
You have to. So I didn't do that, but I definitely had a sweating problem. So I would put tissue paper underneath my armpits. And in Florida, it is humid and nasty or whatever. And I would sweat, like have all the, pit stains. So embarrassing, like for a woman, because you've seen men, whatever. So I was super embarrassed about it. So I had an audition for water park for Wet n Wild, and, swimsuit, whatever. And that's just kind of what I did. I would put little, toilet paper underneath my arms. While I got ready for stuff, because I would get like the stress sweat, now there's like all kinds of deodorants for these kind of things. And so I got to the audition, they were ready already, like, okay, no waiting, and I had to rush into the room and take off my outer layer to show my swimsuit. Sure enough, I take it off and I totally forgot about the toilet paper, and the toilet paper falls out like on the ground. And I wasn't the only one in the room. There's like 3 or 4 other people in the room. And I was like, and I like pick it up real quick. And I'm like, this looks just, awful. So I didn't stuff my bra, but it sure looked like.
Did you get the role?
I did, actually.
Hey!
I did. And it's so funny because it wasn't union. And what that means is just like I just got paid for doing the commercial. And every time they played it, I didn't get any money. But I mean, I was a kid, so it didn't matter. And I got to go to a water park for free and play all
wet
day.
and wild. I remember the thing. Yeah.
So like, I was like win-win. Yeah, that's my story. Did you ever stuff your bra?
I have.
Have you? Oh, well, you have.
I have to.
Tell us.
Yeah.
Because if I don't do drag per se, but if I'm doing a show and I have to stuff my bra. I remember because I'm a theater actor as well, and so I was doing in a musical in college, and we did a Forum. Well, a funny thing happened on the way to the Forum, a Sondheim musical, and it's a farce, and it's all it's like almost like, if you don't know it, it's like Mel Brooks type of farce, just really funny, and so I play a character who's a Grecian or a Roman slave who basically comedy of errors. I'm running around the stage, but at one point dresses in drag. And so they wanted my breasts to look really big and hilarious. So the last half of the show, I had to like run, strip down my underwear. They put on a dress, and then they just will literally hand me 2 cantaloupes, actual cantaloupes,
Oh,
and I
God.
put 2 cantaloupes in my
That is
bra,
commitment.
and I would like do the rest of the show running around with cantaloupes bouncing on my. So she has stuffed her bra.
Wow,
Wow.
but that is like
Have
on another. I was gonna say, I was like, that is tiring. I bet.
Yeah, it was an event. Let me tell you.
I mean, how chafed were your nipples? Jeez.
Speaking of sweaty from running around, I think I was fine. It's fine.
Oh my
What about you?
This one time. Oh,
Go
guys.
ahead.
Okay.
Just spill it.
So this one time when I was younger, there's something wrong with me, you guys. There was some painters over at our house. I'm talking like little, okay? I didn't have boobies.
little?
They weren't
Like
gonna
5,
come
7,
in. I was
12?
I was still playing with Barbies.
14.
Huh? 14. Shut up. I'm gonna guess around 8. That's just a wild guess. I don't really know. But these painters were, they were like on ladders, and we had a 2-story house. I don't know. They were painting something, and I don't know why I thought this one guy was attractive, and I was like, oh, I want to look like womanly. So I stuffed my little shirt, but I was playing Barbies at the same time too.
Oh, my
So I'm like
goodness.
with my little Barbies, but I got all this Kleenex in my boobies, and I was looking out the window like all womanly. Hi,
Wow.
painter.
You're gonna have to subscribe to our Patreon to watch this video.
Yeah, boy,
Here's what
you're a woman of the
Alikona's-
night early.
Exactly.
Early.
Yeah. Anyways, that's the only time I've ever stubbed my.
That's so interesting. That like, I'm hearing you say this, and I'm like, that's so funny, but it also like made me sad. Like I'm like, oh,
Well, yeah, when you're little and you feel like you have to have boobies to be
Yeah.
attractive.
oh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
many things.
It's a lot of
so
pressure.
many things. It is a lot. Of
That's like our
pressure.
first never have. Is that the only first? No, that's the second one, right?
What?
Second, huh?
Are we never have effering?
Yeah, I started it.
So
So you two
go
have
ahead.
to go.
Oh, gee, that's what I was saying. Like we haven't even gotten to any other. Okay. Huh? Okay. This is clearly not my question because I was like, what? Never have I ever lied about my interests. Oh, to impress a guy or avoid turning him off. Oh, okay. So meaning like you have a weird thing with like you love My Little Ponies and you're 25 and you're like don't want to tell a guy because you want to scare him off.
Wow.
No,
Wow.
but I didn't. I didn't.
I would say I felt more because I read that, and especially when I dated in my 20s, if somebody would be like, oh, I really like the Cranberries. And I'd be like, yeah, they're so great. I don't know that fucking band. I don't know them at all. And I used to be they'd be like, oh, I just read this book. I was like, yeah, I heard that's really good. I really want to read that. And I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. But so I did that a lot.
I did
A
that
lot.
with music. There was somebody I had really liked that I danced with, and he's like, "Oh, I love." Was it like Portishead? And I was like, "Yeah." And then I went home and I was like, "Oh, let me listen to this." Oh yeah, I like this. I didn't like it, but I sure did like burn it on a CD and listen to it all the time.
Wow.
Dumb.
Wow.
Portishead.
What
Yeah.
about you?
I feel like in little ways for sure. Like, I don't know, music or shows or something. Maybe.
Oh, yes, television shows
Yeah,
would
like
be.
something that somebody was watching. And it's like,
I still do that sometimes now, honestly. People are talking about television shows and they're in a group and they're like, it's great. And I just kind of go, yeah, great. Because then you're that person at the party that you're like, yeah, I haven't watched White Lotus yet. And they're like, you haven't watched White Lotus?
oh,
And
I don't,
then you're
I
that person.
proudly, I haven't watched Game of Thrones.
Me either.
Don't
Me
at me.
either.
The ending was not good.
Well, and the thing is, sure, I'll give it a try, but I've heard that. So it's like, you
I
guys
watched
want
it
me
all
to
and the ending
invest
sucked.
all this time, and then all y'all.
I would tell people, don't go watch True Blood. The last season's not worth it.
See? So I don't, at this point,
Although
at
Game of
this
Thrones was
age-
still worth it,
See, that's what
actually.
I-
It's still really good. It's just they just shit the bed on that last little season.
I'll watch it for sure. But I think for sure when you get older, you get over that real quick.
get
And
over that real quick.
Yeah, you're just like, no.
All that-
No, do I like? No, I don't like that.
Yeah.
All right, is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay. Never have I ever given my number to a man out of pity. Then he didn't respond. And then, wait, no, I'm sorry. Never have I ever given my number to a man out of pity for them. Then I didn't respond when he called or texted.
Ah.
What?
I feel like
we wonder who wrote this one.
I'm just gonna say I feel like I feel like I'm the guy that gave them my number and then they never called and responded to me. So I'm on the other end of it.
I've only had like this one really very interesting, strange, much older than me man, old enough to be gentleman enough to offer his number and not try to get my number. And he's like, here, let me give you my number. I was like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah. And then I never called. And then I think like a few months later, I ran into that person. They're like, hey, girl, like you totally ghosted me. I've been busy. And I didn't, like I said, I don't know this person, but he's like, oh, so good to see you. Gave me a hug and a kiss on the cheek. And I was like, whoa, I don't know you. Guess I'm really glad. Because I almost did text out of courtesy to be like, hi, thank you for whatever. It was nice to see you. That's it. I'm glad I didn't do that because then they would have had my number.
Yeah.
Well, so bad. Sorry, I'm going to take a side tangent and ask y'all real quick. What do you think is enough time? Like, do you think it's rude if you don't message someone back when they initially make contact? Like, do you think it's rude? Let's say you go on one date with a guy and y'all go on like a coffee date. So like a 30-minute coffee date and you're just not feeling it. And then he sends you a text saying, hey, I really enjoyed the date. Would you like to go out again? Like, I actually probably would say, yeah, I'm not feeling, but at the same time, I don't get upset like after a date or two if someone doesn't message me back because I'm like, I get it. It's awkward for you to be like, hey, I'm just not that into you with something I just met. Like, I don't know. Like,
but that's rude to me.
What's rude?
To like,
I'll message them back, but I have to say, if I go on a
yeah.
date with someone and they don't message me, I don't know. I've kind of looked at it like, okay, there you go.
yeah. Well, no, I just feel like if that's kind of the chicken way. And look, I just said that I didn't call this person. They gave me their number. But if you actually go on a date with somebody and later they text you and you just ignore them, to me, that's rude. Just say, you know what? The chemistry just wasn't there, but I like you. Like, you're a cool person. I hope we cross
What do you
paths.
say? I guess that's good. I hope we go. But do you?
But no,
do you,
but I wouldn't say that.
But do you? That's what the deal. Like you respond, say, "Hey, I think I got more of a friend vibe, or let's cross paths again." No, you don't want to cross paths again because.
But to ignore them, just ignore them.
No, but then what do you say?
But,
You just say, "Hey, I'm just not feeling it. Have a good life."
No, so almost. Also too, depending on what you're looking for, it's like and where you are in your life, right? So, because this is something that when I first started dating, it was really hard for me because it's really hard to just tell somebody you're not into them, and because you want to be nice,
you don't want to hurt their feelings, yeah.
Whatever. But what I realized, and I told whoever I went out with, or even just talked to, or did a little call on the app, I was super honest and said, things like that, or like I'm looking for something really specific right now, and I didn't get that vibe from you, but thank you for taking the time to meet up with me, or thank you for taking the call, or whatever. Hope you find your person.
Well, that's good.
And everybody was so appreciative, like, and the feedback that I got felt like, oh, nobody tells you this often, and was very much
people
like,
said that to me before, like, thank you for saying something.
yeah, and like, best of luck to you too, like, you're great, like, if nothing works out with that dude, hit me back. They'll be funny with it, which I totally respect, and I love when people put humor into something like that. But I was like, this is so much easier than I thought, because I was like, like scared to say this, but after a little practice and getting the response that I did, it was just like, oh, like, everybody just wants the truth, especially like, I don't know you, so I don't, and so why am I putting so much weight on a stranger?
I'm just used to shitty men just ghosting me. I guess I just
I
guess I'm like, doesn't bother me anymore.
Well, and I'm glad that you. When hearing you say that makes me think you have enough self-worth to know that has nothing to do with you, or I hope it does.
I feel like they're
they don't know how
the
to
quote
do.
When people show you who they are, believe them. I don't mean they're a bad person, but it's like, oh, you show me that you're not into me. Okay, great.
Yeah,
you're not into me. We've spent 30 minutes together. Not a big deal.
Exactly, and it's more like good, because that's not what that kind of communication.
Yeah, I'm not upset. If I saw them, I wouldn't be upset. I'd be like, hey, how are you?
Yeah, like
bye.
Because you're better than that anyway. Yeah, so I'm glad that's how you take it, and I also think sometimes it's just some people lack those kind of communication skills, or that, because even, I don't know, I think that's a hard thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's super fascinating. I don't even remember what the
You know what's hard to do? Deal with people who are very negative.
Yeah, Debbie Downers. Let's talk about it.
Yes. Okay. So I got this quote. It said, I was like, this is good. Negative people need drama like oxygen. Stay positive. It will take their breath away.
I've heard that quote before, yeah.
I've never heard it, but
That's
that's
That's a good one.
okay. So talk to us. Okay. So we're talking about, I mean, God, this is such a common thing, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm saying that just from our talks, but living with somebody, growing up with somebody, or being in a relationship with somebody who is a Debbie Downer or depressed or has different energy than you, like how do you deal? And we were talking about this specifically, Alikona and I. We've talked about this a lot, actually. Mm-hmm. And so why did you think we needed to make it an episode?
Because it is so common and there's not a lot of awareness. I connected with a family member last year that I didn't know was my family member. And the only reason I'm not saying, I don't know if this person's going to listen. This person's very sweet, but they've had a lot of trauma in their life. And I just noticed a pattern after we got to know each other. The messages were, when I say messages, like we audio text, and it'd be a lot of like, and then this happened, and then this happened today, and of course this happened. And oh my goodness gracious, I really want to get to know you, but that is tough, and I don't know you well enough to tell you, stop it. Mm-hmm. And my mom used to do that too. It was a combination of she'd pick on me, but also be negative. And it was me recognizing, first of all, it's hard when it's a parent because first they teach you how to act. Mm-hmm. And then as an adult, you still have this, or at least for me, dynamic where they're the authoritative figure and you're the child. So who are you to tell them about themselves? I eventually did. But before I did, I stayed away from them, which is weird because it's your own mom. Gosh, I hope she's not listening. But if you are, you're doing good. But anyway, all that said, I like if she called, I would not pick up the phone. I'd let it go to voicemail, and then I would text or something, but I'd have to take a step back. And that's not to say that I haven't had, and it's funny because Matt and I would have conversations if I was upset about something. Like, Matt, let's go, we'd go for a walk or whatever. And I'd start telling him about the things I was dealing with. And I'd be like, I am so sorry. I am that friend that's being negative. And you'd always be like, no, you're just venting. So it's like, what is the difference then of...
I think, what is a Debbie Downer? Like, what is someone... Because I think there's a difference in just like sharing your day-to-day bullshit you have to go through. And then someone who is either... in such a negative space and not able to, but also not only they're in their own space, but almost I've had friends, I kind of look at like a Debbie Downer as someone who not only is always in a bad mood, but then they always want to yuck my yum. You know what I mean? And so they're actually projecting.
Don't yuck my yum.
Yeah, don't yuck my. They're projecting their shit on me, and like trying to, if I have something going on in my life, they go, well, but I'm like, no, like, not that I want to live in toxic positivity, because that is a real thing. I don't want to do that either. I think that's something I probably did more when I was younger. Like, I'm all good. Everything's good. I'm all happy. Yeah, it's like a Disney story. I try not to do that now. I try to like share the road bumps as well as just, the other stuff. But yeah, so there's definitely, I think though, it's hard to describe though, but I think Debbie Downer is like a big energy thing for me.
Well, you're naturally positive person, and you're an uplifter. I feel like a Debbie Downer is the kind of person who, if you were going to take an average of the days you've spent with them or your conversations, on average, there's a lot of heavy negative complaints. Like, it's not just like this happened, I had a bad day, or the situation. It's not situational. It just feels like, and I'm just going to speak for myself, the person that I was in, like, had that, who was super Debbie Downer, it was very woe is me about everything. Mm-hmm. And some things were super valid and made sense, but other things, when it struck me the most, because I'm very much like you, Emily, happy.
That's how I am. Thank you.
That's like it. And so, we're positive. We like to be happy, and we like, things that make us feel happy. But when I'm not happy, or what is it, the halt thing? When I'm halt. He was
We'll talk about this in the break. How
the break.
halt if you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, then stop. You're not in the right place necessarily to make a decision, to have an important conversation. Take care of the thing that one of those four things.
That is just gold, because mostly for me is I'm hungry, maybe tired, but or just whatever, life,
Yeah.
But I was in a situation where this person who was normally Debbie Downer,
they just ate, they weren't angry, they're not lonely, and they just woke up from a nap, and they still in a bad mood.
Exactly. And then
They're still pissed off.
I might have been, hungry or whatever. And this person was like, basically said that I need to figure it out because I was the positive one. And I was like, oh.
You need to figure them out?
No, myself. So I wasn't allowed to have these moments to be sad or upset. And
because you were the positive person for them.
Yeah.
So you played a role.
Yes. And I think I'm that person for a lot of people in my life. But it was the first time that I ever heard it that way. And I was like, that is so rude, one, and unfair. And just like, I'm sorry, wait, what? Like, it made me feel like this.
Yeah.
And it just felt so unfair and so one-sided because I was like, oh, wow. So I'm not allowed to feel depressed or
Did you tell them that?
Yes. But I can be that for you and your cheerleader and lift you up all the time. Like, and it was the first time I felt almost lonely in this relationship because of that. Because it's like, dang, I don't get it.
Well, it's also, it's very dismissive of your feelings. Yeah. And at the same time, like, then all of a sudden it like lets them off the hook for being your rock, if that makes sense. Like, come be my rock, but instead you're like, well, you're the positive one. I don't know how to do it, so you figure it out. Huh?
Yeah. And it wasn't even like that, but it was more of like, oh, because you can tell when you're mad or when you're not happy or whatever. And I was like, yeah. Because I'm not having a good day today. Like, I'm not trying to fake it.
Right.
But that was wrong. And I was like, but you're allowed to be this all the time. How does that make sense? Learned a lot in that relationship. But that's hard though. Also too, I wanted to add that what's difficult, what makes it tricky is when there's mental health stuff packed into that package.
That's a whole other ballgame because it's kind of like it's not just about them and it's not about them just bidding in a good. It's an illness.
Yes, and so how do you navigate that? Why?
Very differently.
And being compassionate, understanding, but also having your boundaries and also getting your needs met and all these things. It gets real tricky and hard.
It's, because also too, I think that it's also, especially when you're talking about mental illness and things like that, I am a big proponent of medication just because I'm not saying I would suggest that the first thing, but I think it's this idea of, especially in our culture, we're in this culture of this American, like you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, individualist culture, which I think is a lot of bullshit. I think we all get to a place because of other people and we might do it by ourselves, but there's always someone or a community or something organization that supports you that has to be there. Especially, I think this whole individual you is a very like white cis male perspective, and when you're that other, it's kind of hard just to pick yourself up and do. You need the support. So, but when you're talking about someone who's Debbie Downer mental illness, I remember whenever I was going through a stressful year, I was doing like a special medical thing. I was getting my blood test like every 3 months. And I would see the rate of my cortisol, which is the stress hormone. I would see it as the more stress I got during the year, how stressful. Hey, we just go. My levels would go up and up and up and up and up and up. And it finally culminated when my dad passed away. And I remember like a month after my dad passed away, my cortisol level, I think it's supposed to be between 8 and 11, and my cortisol level was 20. And I went, oh, that's why I can't relax. It's not because I'm doing the wrong thing. It's not because I'm fucking up. I was shaming myself saying, Matt, come on, you need to be in a better mood. You need to be happier. No, literally my body could not regulate itself. And so I think when we're talking about people with depression and anxiety, they're like, why can't I just be calm? Why can't? It's because your body is chemically out of balance and you can't. So that's a whole other issue. Now, somebody who just
whole other issue.
it's Debbie
another
Downer. It's
issue,
more of a lighter thing.
But I also feel like it can't, especially now because it is talked about and people are on medication and they are aware of their things. And I tread lightly because I understand the magnitude of that, but also sometimes some people, I'm going to just say it like this. In my experience with in that situation, it was used almost as a crutch, as a crutch or as a like an excuse for certain behaviors where it's just like, okay, this is really difficult to navigate because
you have to see people where they are. You really have to accept that. Now, if they use it or not, and if it's, I think there's a difference too of using it as a crutch and then weaponizing that against you. That's crossing a boundary. Then that's when you need to tell a person you can't accept that and possibly not be around that energy. And a crutch is more kind of like, I have a couple friends that I have one friend in particular. He's a really good guy, a really good person. And I know when I'm around him that it's going to be a more intense time because that's kind of where he just lives as a person. But there's so much other good things that have happened. Because I think too, we have the emotional capital of history together and being there for one another. Yeah. So it's,
I like that you said accepting them for where they are. I think that's so beautiful and so important. I think yes. But the weaponizing thing is
and accepting them where they are and knowing that's where you're not.
Yeah.
So that's the part. That's the tips. We always talk accept people where they are. That's great, but then knowing that, do I accept that or do I not?
Yeah.
So I know we have to wrap things up soon, but I would love to like solutionize and just say that, okay, how do we, because I said how I deal with a Debbie Downer. That doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing. For my own health and well-being and energy, I step back. But if it's somebody that you can't step back from, like you live with them, A, how do you deal with that? And B, how can we help somebody gain the self-awareness to go, am I that person in the room? Oh God, I am. I think I need to work on myself. Because I think the problem is there is not that awareness. They think that it's just life is out to get them. It's happening to them and not for them. So, yeah.
I think talk to your friends. If you're in that, if you feel like you are one, ask your friends like, hey, do you feel like I'm always in a bad mood? Or do you feel like I feel like I'm talking to you about my day and it feels like I'm complaining. Do you ever get that vibe from me? Do you feel that? Like, check in, because I don't think you need that. From honest friends, not your coworker, but like someone you really trust.
Yeah, and I think even because of situations of like growing up in that kind of a home or parentals or things like that, like boundaries maybe. I think I don't know, especially for young children. I think that's just so hard.
It's difficult because you can't get out of the house. I mean, for me, I did. I was and I enjoyed it, but I was a cheerleader. I ran track. I was in theater. I did all the activities that kept me away from home. So outside of being fun, it was also like a sanctuary and less time for me to have to be around that.
Yeah, I like that. And I think that could work for an adult as well, like finding those people or activities that give you
and
solace or peace.
Person. I mean, just being honest with the person, saying, look, I think you're a Debbie Downer. Like, I think like you're always, and I say this not because it affects me, but also because I love you and I care about you. And I feel like you're just not happy in life.
Yes.
That's sad for me.
Yeah, and hopefully being able to help, right? And come up with solutions for them or point them in the right direction if it's something that they can recognize too and be like, thank you. And I would say like most close friendships or people, hopefully, like I would accept that, like, dang, okay, you know, if somebody who's in that healthy self-awareness space, hopefully. This quote is more about just like negative people, but it says, stay away from negative people. They have a problem for every solution.
So true.
But I think full stop kind of, you know, we talked about accepting people, but again, it goes back to there are people that are karmically, energetically, whatever you believe, are going to bring negativity into your life, and that can turn into a toxic way, and that's always okay to say. I think sometimes we feel like we need a bigger reason to end a friendship or relationship because it needs to be because of a reason, and just the fact that when I'm around you, you make me feel really icky. I just want to give people permission that that's reason enough.
Yes, I love that. That is so good. And I hope that resonates with people and you guys can take that to heart because that's, give yourself that permission. Thank you
Thankfully,
so much.
I'm on a couch with, if it's a Debbie Downer, what are y'all? I don't know, an Ursula Upper? I don't know.
That sounds like a street drug.
It does.
Give one of those Ursula Uppers.
Take me one of them.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. All right. Well, I think that wraps things up. I don't know. We had 3 cameras. One's blinking. It may be on. It may not be on. So I will say good night, good morning, good afternoon. Happy snack time to you. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you always to Frank, to T. Michael.
To your camera.
Yeah, thank you. And of course to Matt. And to you, Alikona.
I mean, thank you.
All right, thank y'all.
All right.
See you next time.
All right. Oops. Bye.